The Trump-Elon civil war continues to prove to be the most destructive thing that has ever happened to MAGA, because after Elon Musk went public and shared that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, Trump is firing back, calling out the crimes that Elon himself committed in the White House. And Donald Trump's discussion of those crimes and talking about how Elon liked to use a certain substance every once in a while directly led to a violent fight in the Oval Office with Elon Musk. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, there is so much to unpack in this story, but before we do so, we need the context, which is with the New York Times story about Elon Musk's abuse of drugs while in the White House, and Peter Doocy broke some of that down right here.
And if there was any indication that Musk may have been on unsteady ground, it was about this time last Friday, when we tried to ask him about that New York Times report alleging inappropriate use of recreational drugs.
So, there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between...
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times, let's move on.
Still no clarity about whether or not what he thinks about that New York Times story, but I am told that Elon Musk's act with President Trump started to wear thin about a month ago.
Now, I never like to turn to the Fox propaganda outlet as our context for important news on a story, but in this instance, we have to, because Peter Doocy asked Elon Musk about his drug use. We saw Donald Trump a little bit uncomfortable while he did, and of course, Elon immediately deflected. And why this is so important is because, as we discussed yesterday, it might be the case that it was inside the White House that these leaks were coming about Elon's abuse of drugs. And if that is the case, it means that Elon's civil war is not with just Donald Trump over his attacks on his agenda. It's also with the rest of MAGA and the rest of Donald Trump's White House, which could make this civil war so much more destructive. And of course, the big topic of conversation as it relates to Elon is his criminality, which Donald Trump refused to talk about last night, but now that's changing. But first, let's take a look at what he had to say.
Do you have any concerns about his drug use when he was working for you?
I don't want to comment on his drug use. I don't know what his...
So Trump didn't directly address, he said, I don't want to talk about Elon Musk's drug use. But now all of that has changed as more information is coming out about what Donald Trump was saying behind the scenes about Elon. Now, of course, this split it was very public. It exploded over the past couple of days. But there was a long lead up, which is what is so important here, to Elon's ultimate departure from the White House. And apparently, some of that included Donald Trump's discussion of his drug use. And Donald Trump and Elon's fracturing relationship really started to break, according to the Washington Post, when he got in a violent fight with Scott Bessent. We're going to check that out. Then I want to see what Donald Trump had to say about Elon's little favorite habit. In mid-April, Musk and Bessent had gone to the Oval Office to make their respective cases about their preferences for acting IRS commissioner. Trump decided to support Bessent's choice. That disagreement was first reported by the New York Times. After Bessent and Musk exited the Oval Office and began walking down the hallway, the two men started to exchange insults, Bannon said, adding that Bessent brought up Musk's claim that he would uncover more than $1 trillion in wasteful and fraudulent government spending, which Musk had not succeeded at doing. Scott said, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud," Bannon said in an interview. Musk then rammed his shoulder into Bessent's ribcage like a rugby player, Bannon said, and Bessent hit him back. Multiple people stepped in to break up the scrum as the two men reached the National Security Advisor's office and Musk was shuffled out of the West Wing. So again, I bring this up amid all of the fighting between Trump and Musk directly, because if this was a longer-term breakup involving multiple different parts of the Trump White House and the MAGA movement, that proves long-term to be much more damaging to them, which makes me so happy, especially as it appears like Donald Trump has a little bit more ammunition to go after Elon with, especially for his criminality, and it was broken down by the Washington Post right here. Inside the battles that shattered the Trump and Musk alliance. Donald Trump was dejected processing his very public split with the world's richest man. Rattled in the wake of Elon Musk's public attacks and apparent call for his impeachment, Trump worked the phones, debriefing close confidants and casual acquaintances alike. His former ally was a big-time drug addict, Trump said at one point as he tried to make sense of Elon Musk's behavior, according to a person with knowledge of the call, who, like others interviewed for this story, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive matters. Musk has acknowledged using ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, which he says was prescribed to him to treat depression. The New York Times recently reported that he was using so much ketamine on the campaign trail that he told people it was affecting his bladder, and he traveled with a pillbox with medication with the marking of Adderall. White House officials said the Trump's concern about Musk's drug use, stemming in part from social media reports, was one factor driving the two men apart. But the president, who historically hasn't hesitated to fire off deeply personal, blistering social media posts about others who have insulting him, was more muted regarding Musk than his friends and advisors expected. In the aftermath of his Thursday face-off with Musk, he urged those around him not to pour gasoline on the fire, according to two people with knowledge of his behavior. He told Vice President J.D. Vance to be cautious with how he spoke publicly about Musk's situation. So Donald Trump is confirming the story they were trying to refute and making it clear that Elon Musk was breaking the law by abusing substances during his time in the White House. But there are so many ramifications here. Again, Donald Trump began his split with Elon Musk a long time ago. And for that reason, Elon is not just mad with Trump, but everyone in his administration. He is going to try to take on all of the MAGA movement. And it's the reason Donald Trump probably realizes he needs to take a step back from these attacks on Elon before this continues to blow up in an even more destructive way, which it appears like it is. But it's not just Trump who's trying to play the chess game here. So is J.D. Vance, who is mentioned at the end of that article, and his pretty loud silence over the past couple of days has been indicative of where his head's at, especially when we take a look at what he had to say when he first heard the story of Elon's blow up at Trump on Theo Von's podcast.
Elon just hit the airwaves today. Bring it up,
man.
dude.
Oh, man.
The fucking shit missile is in the cannon.
Okay. Wow.
Elon Musk, and you may have heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Time to drop the really big bomb, right? And I thought this was going to be on Iran.
So it's funny. I haven't even seen.
Right?
I haven't even seen this one.
But he goes, at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Nice signature from a South African DJT.
Man. Well, here's my basic reaction to like all this stuff is look. First of all, absolutely not. Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, the guy is, whatever the Democrats and the media says about him, that's totally BS. Here's my basic read on it. First of all, I'm the vice president to President Trump. My loyalties are always going to be with the president. Mm-hmm. And I think that Elon, he's an incredible entrepreneur. He's actually done, I think Doge was really good. This sort of effort to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in our country was really good. And look, man, I'm always going to be loyal to the president, and I hope that eventually Elon kind of comes back into the fold. Maybe that's not possible now because he's gone so nuclear.
Well, his feelings
but I hope it is, man.
Like his feelings are hurt. Why, though? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think number one, Elon's new to politics, right? So his businesses are being attacked nonstop. They're literally like firebombing some of his cars. And by the way, we're looking into a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of that stuff we're looking into is an act of terrorism. Yeah. At the Department of Justice, because I think it is an act of terrorism. So I think part of it is this guy got into politics and has suffered a lot for it. But I mean, and I get the frustration there, and I get the frustration that, I mean, look, Congress, you got the spending bill, but the main purpose of the bill is not actually spending or cutting spending, though it does cut a lot of spending. Mm-hmm. The main purpose of the bill is to prevent the biggest tax increase. But I understand, like, it's a good bill. It's not a perfect bill. Like, the process in D.C., if you're a business leader, you probably get frustrated with that process because it's more, bureaucratic. It's more slow moving. Yeah. So I think there's just some frustrations there. But I really, man, I think it's a huge mistake for him to go after the president like that. And I think that if he and the president are in some blood feud. Most importantly, it's going to be bad for the country. But I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be good for Elon either.
I don't want to give JD Vance any credit here. I hate to do that. But I do think he is a good understanding of MAGA. He understands how to climb the ladder of the MAGA movement. He's clearly done that very well. He's positioned himself as Trump's successor after just a little bit of time in the Republican Party. I don't want to give JD Vance credit, but we do know that much. So clearly in this moment, he's trying to figure out, all right, Trump's going to be gone soon. Elon may be sticking around. I don't want to get on his bad side. He said maybe he's out of the party, but we don't know. Not even JD is backing his boss completely because he does not know what is about to play out. That is the current status of what's happening right now, is that the fighting will be ongoing and it is affecting all of them. All of them. And they know it. It is going to be incredibly destructive to their movement and good. It should be. I hope this preoccupies their time so they can stop trying to steal healthcare away from millions of Americans and collect all of our personal data to use it against us, as Jasmine Crockett broke down right here.
A lot of y'all think only immigrants are going to be affected by this, but this administration has already deported American citizens. In fact, in an interview with Time magazine, Trump said, quote, "I would love to do that. We're looking into it." Madam Chair, I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article published by ABC News titled, quote, "Trump wants to send U.S. citizens to foreign prisons. Legal experts
No
say."
objection.
Thank you. It won't be long before more Americans are targets of this administration. This administration has refused to follow the law, and the Republicans are failing to do actual oversight. We don't know what they're going to do with your health records and Social Security information. In fact, we don't know what they're doing. I don't think anybody does, except we know that they're breaking the law. And it is frustrating to me because I am somebody that actually believes in science. I believe that we should be investing in our young people. I believe that we should not be taking research dollars away. I believe that we should be trying to come up with new technologies and that we should be leading the world. But unfortunately, I can't trust these guys to do good things because, as it's already been said by Mr. Schneider, it is about who it is that is on the side that is asking for this to be done. And frankly, this feels like some bad movie that we are all in and that the villains are doing bad. So with that, I will yield.
Now, of course, the civil war between Musk and Trump is the big story, and we are going to be covering it nonstop on this channel. But I also want to talk about the stories that in part they are trying to distract from. This gathering of our personal data via Palantir, a private corporation, is certainly a scary story. We're going to be talking more about it. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around in the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.